Sometimes hosting the show is like being a kid with a chemistry set. You put all kinds of different elements together, and with any luck, kaboom. Hey, I was a bad kid. I didn't want to make sulfur dioxide. I wanted to make an explosion, which is what this guy does every time he comes on this show. Geza Kalman, pro wrestler. Nice to see you, man.
Hey, thanks, Michael. It's good to be here again.
Excellent. We also are thrilled to have this guy here. He just happens to be the 5th leading author on the planet right now.
Number 5 in the world.
The Rescue, Message in a Bottle, The Notebook, and A Walk to Remember. Great to see you, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Also a great spinner and a black belt in Taekwondo.
Black belt in Taekwondo.
Excellent, which means beware. Myles Shane, former producer from 2020 and the producer of Famous Dead People. Nice to see you, Myles.
Thanks for having me again,
And
Michael.
Cathy Dudzic is a fitness model, and she's done all kinds of great things, which we'll find out later in the show. Nice to see you, Cathy.
Nice to see you
You
again.
ready to go?
Absolutely.
Okay, giving me the evil eye already?
Ready to go?
Excellent. The question that we ask on the show today, is sports an equal opportunity employer? Because if it is, a short Jewish guy's got a shot at the NBA. And Nestor and Leroux have brought home gold. As professionals, I hope they have kept their receipts from down under. And if David loses the Cy Young, should he have a Goliath-sized beef with his team? But first, Marty McSorley. By the time you watch this show, actually, a verdict may have been handed down. A verdict on McSorley's assault and a verdict on the future of hockey. Because even though the NHL is downplaying it, I feel the game is on trial, and specifically the role of a player like McSorley, like Brashear, and like at least one player on every other team. I've spoken to a current NHL enforcer, and he said McSorley had no choice but to push Brashear into a fight, and he tried to do it with a slash. To break the law, you have to break the standards of that community. I ask, did Marty McSorley break the community standards which he works in, which is pro hockey?
No, absolutely not. No, he was doing exactly what he was on the ice for. And unfortunately, that slash ended up being a very, very unfortunate accident, and someone was injured because of it.
That's exactly how I feel. I mean, you'll never find out exactly for sure whether he meant to hit him in the arm or hit him in the head. It's part of the game. I mean, it's an unfortunate part of the game, but that's what happened.
I disagree.
I don't know.
I disagree. I totally disagree. I mean, it's like, okay, you're supposed to say, well, it's hockey and they're allowed to do this and you got enforcers and doing that. All right, what if he hit him and the guy died? Well, he didn't mean to, you know, the guy's
yeah,
dead.
but where are you going to draw the line? I mean, somewhere along the line, okay, let's say,
all we're talking about.
Let's say a baseball player, okay, he hits a foul ball, okay, and it goes out into the stands and it hits a guy in the head, breaks his nose. Now, should that guy be able to sue the baseball player? I mean, that was accidental. Where are you going to draw the line?
I don't think what McSorley was accidental, though.
But yeah, what if the fan decides, well, I want to charge him with assault?
Look, you take it to court and you let them decide on a case by case.
Why is he even in court? That's what we were talking about.
Because he whacked him in the head with a stick.
I mean, he was already taken care of. He was punished by the NHL already.
Who was an enforcer would have been doing. It is unfortunate how
Look,
the injury ended up coming out.
Look, if
for
you want that in the
hockey, that's a normal part of the game.
It's accepted within hockey. Everybody.
No, I didn't say slashing him in the head was normal.
People get slashed. People get hacked.
But what he was doing, he was antagonizing him. He was showing him his position.
The game was almost over. I mean, there were a couple minutes left. The score was totally out of hand, and he goes and whacks the guy over the head. I mean, if you did that on the street, I mean, you'd be in jail. There's no excuse for that kind of thing.
You can't talk about being on the street. That's right. It was an arena of, it was a professional sport.
It's part of the game.
Now, I like,
it's part of the
granted,
game.
I'm from the States, and hockey is not as big where I am. However, you know,
I don't know,
if you want rules, and you got to have rules, you got to follow those rules, and if someone's going to hit someone in the head and they go overboard and they do something, sure, put them on trial. Maybe they're innocent. Great, then we set a standard. But hey, you got to start.
Was it the NHL that decided to put him on trial?
Right.
Exactly.
He whacked him in the head with, no, it's a crime against, he whacked him in the head with a stick. It's against the rules of hockey.
It comes down to you got two goons going at it.
Exactly.
You know, one's trying to get the other one going.
Okay, so then we say, okay.
Showing it and showing it on TV.
And then the
audiences started getting all upset about it. And the more you show it, of course, the more people.
That's exactly what it is. That's what it's about. Our society. I mean, just the way it is.
All the time.
People are just people want to charge everybody for everything. There's nothing you can do anymore without being charged. We're a society of
He's a professionally paid athlete. He gets paid to put his body and himself on the line every day he gets out on the ice. It's part of the game.
Yeah, he doesn't. I tell you what, he does not go out there thinking someone's going to whack him in the head with a stick.
Yes, he does. He plays hockey.
Come on,
Who wouldn't think that they are going to
okay, maybe he doesn't think.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Maybe he doesn't think he's going to get whacked in the head, but if he does, then it's accepted. It's part of the sport.
Let me throw out the question that you just asked. It's very important. The point that we've been making is, on this show, that you have to assume some risk when you step on the National Hockey League rink. The Crown tried to address that, asking Donald Brashear, quote, did you consent to be struck in that matter?
Right.
And he said, no.
right. It's against the rules.
Exactly.
It's not good sportsmanship.
Okay,
it adds nothing. Look, whacking someone in the head
I'm sorry,
adds
can you repeat
nothing
that
to
again?
hockey.
Say it one more time, Michael.
I said the Crown asked the question, did you consent to be struck in that manner? Now, you can take that literally, which is, well, you know, did he ask you if you could hit you? And then you said no. Of course, that's not what they're saying. They're saying by your presence in the National Hockey League on a game on the ice, there is a certain matter of assumed risk.
Exactly.
And
so
he's
then
saying, no, I didn't assume that risk. I didn't know that it was inherent in the game. That's his point.
He's full of then.
I agree.
That's all I can say.
I totally agree.
He's full of
totally
crap.
agree.
There's no way. I mean, he doesn't think. Okay. He doesn't think if he goes out there and if he elbows someone in the corners, he cross-checks. No one's going to retaliate. Eventually, everyone retaliates. You can only push someone so much, and the retaliation. I mean, eventually, it's going to step up. It's going to go up the scale.
That's all Marty was doing, was just trying to antagonize him to just assert his
right.
position.
He wanted to light him up.
It just
That's his
nicked
job.
him in the head, and the.
Where do you stop? Where do you stop?
I don't believe it wasn't. I don't believe he went out and
so nothing happens. He doesn't go to. So he doesn't even get put on trial. He set no standards whatsoever. So the next time it happens, the guy gets hit hard enough, and he's brain damaged forever.
No,
of course, now we can't do it.
The National Hockey League should be looking at it, not outside courts.
That's right.
The National Hockey League needs
I agree with her. I mean, the National Hockey League should take care of it.
But Nicholas, wouldn't you say that there's a certain standard that has to be established above where you can't go? But the NHL and the law specifically has never done that. How would Marty McSorley have possibly known whether or not he was crossing the line when there's all kinds of examples of that? Isn't the greatest irony the fact that even Brashear, Donald Brashear, wants this case to go away? When asked whether he wanted to be there, he said no. Consider this, if McSorley's found guilty, Brashear may have the most to lose because he's an enforcer playing in a province that will have said enforcing on the ice can be illegal. Way more to talk about when we return.
It's also going to be a market.
We should never say never in the sports world. We said that Gretzky would never be traded and the Americans would never get in trouble at the Olympics. Well, Gretzky's been a king, a blue, and a ranger, and the Americans are under more suspicion than Britney's cleavage. Dick Pound says, quote, the United States has been very slow to recognize that there is a problem in the U.S. The head medical officer of the IAAF, Arne Lundquist, has said, we know the Americans have covered up positive tests. As unfair as it may seem, can we or should we punish the entire team because their leadership has been faulty?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt that the Americans have been cheating for years, but not only that, but didn't the
what do you mean no doubt they've been cheating for years?
Didn't the entire Olympic committee for the games in Salt Lake City, weren't they all bribed? I mean, the whole thing is corrupt.
But that's a different point, and their corruption has been pointed out. But that's a huge leap to go to corrupt officials, therefore we have to punish all athletes.
Look, you might say that, okay, you can say that. I don't think you should be
punishing all the athletes. You've got to look at where it comes from. If it's the coaches and the people in the leadership positions, you've got to look at them. Like if I'm an athlete going in the Olympics and if my coach has been doing something that he's not supposed to be doing, then you've got to look at him. If that's not my fault.
Well, I think the Americans, whether it's true or not, I mean, if they have been covering up, I believe it's because the athletes have got a lot to gain by coming home with a gold medal,
for sure.
Of course,
or any kind of medal. I mean, America. I mean, it's
especially in the States.
It's the greatest country of gluttony in that aspect. That they can make so much money from advertising, endorsements, and if they feel they have to take stuff,
But the question that I ask is, if the leadership of a team, the American team, can no longer be trusted, how can we make the assumption that any athlete is clean? Because they've lied on others.
First off, because all of these leaders, they're leaders in like name only. I was a very competitive.
Now you are still a record holder, right, at Notre Dame University?
Yeah, and I used to run track and field, and when we would go overseas and I'd run in foreign countries, they would appoint a coach or whatever, and he's the coach of the team, and he gets all the press. Look, I never saw the guy. I never trained with him. He has no. I could be.
But if your coach is tainted, that then would make me look at you and think, wow, you know what?
I didn't even necessarily know the guy. I mean, I
doesn't
trained.
matter. The assumption is there.
No, the assumption is there.
That's a big leap. You're expecting us to be relatively naive here to assume that those that run the testing in the United States have no impact on those that are tested.
I think it just comes out that someone is looking to burn the Americans.
There are some people, and of course it's...
That's all it's about.
I mean...
They're just looking. They're looking to knock down the Americans. I mean, because they've just been.
Is this defense of the Americans? They're looking
I'm just saying they've just been kicking too much ass.
No, but
I mean,
but that patronizes all Americans. That patronizes that guy sitting there as an American.
That's fine.
Because they have proven conclusively that the Americans have lied. So why are we just saying that we're out to persecute the Americans?
No. If it's a proven fact that they've lied and they've
Olympics,
schemed, then you know what? Then they should be pulled and they should be banned from doing any leadership positions in the Olympics whatsoever. End of story.
You know, when and where, show me the event, you know, show me.
So do you question whether or not C.J. Hunter actually tested positive 4 times?
C.J. Hunter did, sure, but you know, his test was in Belgium. You know, I mean...
But now you're raising suspicion, though. You said you don't question it, but now you're saying, well,
no. Well, no, look, you're a shot putter. I mean, almost, you know, in the all three medalists last year, all three medalists from around the world last year, they all had tested positive at one time or another. But when you say, and that's the shot putter. But, you know, are all the sprinters? I mean, you really, I mean, I just don't think so. And certainly not the distance runners and some other people. I mean, it's just the way it is.
America's a huge nation with lots of multinational corporations behind it. They can buy off the Olympic Committee just like they did in Salt Lake City. Whereas, you know, when Ben Johnson tests positive, Canada, we don't have as much money, enough corporate sponsorship. We're, you know.
Yeah, but the Ben Johnson scandal came all around because of a reporter.
No, and
I mean, it came out at the Dublin inquiry that the IOC official wasn't even, he didn't even care. He was going to let him keep his gold medal,
well, 12 years ago, 12 years ago today, Ben Johnson left Seoul in disgrace. Now, he says, quote, "It's amazing how everybody is pulling their muscles and is out with the flu. It's a joke. They're not clean. Nobody wants to look like a jackass, so the best thing for them to do is to pull out." Marie-Josée Pérec, the great French runner, left claiming that she had been stalked in her hotel. Nothing backed up her claim. Has the drug hysteria made it impossible to look at any athlete without suspicion?
For sure.
Absolutely. No. Absolutely.
No.
Okay, one at a time.
No, absolutely not. Okay, there are so many of these events are just so individual and so isolated, and there will be good people and there will be bad people, dirty people and clean people in every event. And of course, Pérec is not from the United States, and who the heck knows if she
You know what? I'm there representing my country in the Olympics, and if I, for a second, thought there was something in me that would become scandalous and the whole entire nation would be looking at me, are you out of your mind? I would pull out with a stomach injury. I broke a fingernail, for God's sake.
I think
my
Ben
ass
Johnson's
would be out.
Just crying
I would be on the next plane
12
home.
years ago, he got busted. I mean, it's unfortunate.
Oh, you wouldn't be pissed off if you were Ben Johnson?
What's that?
You would not be shocked and horrified that your life is decimated, but in the ensuing years, you find other people were doing the same thing, and they've gone on to make millions of dollars, and their records still stand.
Well, of course, I mean, I'd be pissed off because, well, yeah, they didn't get caught, and he did. I mean, that's what he's angry about.
Well, I mean, I just don't agree.
I think let's just make the Olympics, get rid of the drug testing. Because, you know, everybody, okay, I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying as an overall, everybody is going to be taking something. And to pass a drug test, you only have to stop
only the rich countries,
about 2 weeks before.
Can compete. Like Nigeria,
2 weeks before a blood test, you can still test
good drugs for all countries.
Stop
That's what I'm saying.
Olympics, when they began, were all about the true athletes.
Guys, I got to jump in here. Continue this during the commercial break. David Wells must have had some bad KFC because he's in an ornery mood, or maybe he's just got a bad batch of teammates. Either way, his fellow Jays were left extra crispy by his comments. That's next.
Now, listen,
Donovan Bailey has had the flu for the entire games, and it is making Glenroy Gilbert sick. He hasn't caught it, but the Canadian sprinter who won gold with Bailey in the relay in 1996 says Bailey hasn't told anyone whether he'll run in the relay or not, and Gilbert says, right now, I'm quoting him, "I'm pissed off. It's just so disrespectful," unquote. Let's not talk about Bailey's deportment. Let's ask the simple question. He had the flu, but should the team be allowed to order him to run since he flew to Australia on our dollar?
I think he's got to crap or get off the pot, as they say. You know what I mean? I mean, he shouldn't sit there, you know, letting everybody wonder, you know, oh, am I going to run? Am I not going to run? You know, make the decision. And if he can't, you know, the team should have made the decision several days ago and told him. That's right.
Either he's sick or he's
not
sick.
Like, if Donovan really has the flu, if Donovan really has the flu, and he's really as sick as everyone says, he shouldn't be running and they shouldn't make him run because he could cost us a medal. And we know we haven't won a lot of them.
It cost you a medal, but you know, when your legs are pumping at 55 miles an hour,
right, we do.
27
I mean, the bottom line
miles an hour.
is it's not a
Cathy?
If your legs are pumping at 55 miles an hour and you're running at 27 miles an hour, you know, and you're low on fluids, you're feverish, you can risk some serious injury there. So no, if he's seriously ill, no. But I think really what people are saying is he really ill or was he?
But then again, look at Steve Nash, what he's been doing on bad knees.
That's ridiculous. I mean, I don't think he should be forced to run.
If Donovan Bailey thinks he's, you know, he's creating some great suspense for us. I mean, I think most Canadians, if he does announce he's going to run, nobody's going to care.
Okay, that's amateur sports that we're talking about here, where even if you lose, it's noble, right? Because it's so-called amateur sport. But how about with the pros and with the Toronto Blue Jays? David Wells pitched last night, pitched very well, but lost 2-1 to the Baltimore Orioles. He came out and said afterwards, it's a crying blank, shame, print it, that's it. Is he out of line to criticize his teammates for lack of run support?
No.
I don't think so.
Because they didn't produce the runs, you know.
Is it not a team?
I mean,
is it a team effort though?
But that game,
or is it a David Wells effort?
You know, they didn't. He's not saying, you know, this team was terrible all year and I've never had any support, but they didn't produce that game. This is a long season. You got to be up and down, and teams go through this.
It is.
And
but
sometimes
he's got to understand that. I mean, if he's going to be critical about one certain game because he wants to win the Cy Young Award, I mean, you know, maybe a bit hypocritical, but poor, you know, well. He's got to go home and cry some tears in a bucket of ice cream.
I gotta say,
it ain't just about him.
I thought when you put the tie on that you would go corporate.
Yeah.
There's not a hint of corporation in you.
I'm sorry.
David has the right to say that, and he's right. You know, he hasn't had the run. The Jays haven't had the run support, you know, all year, and they had a chance to get the wild card, and they're not going to get it now. He's got the right to speak his opinion. He's the most valuable player, and they're going to lose him probably to free agency.
That he's the most valuable player.
He could win the Cy Young Award.
Yeah, but you're looking at a team that has come together. They've got amazing runs. You've got Brad Fulmer. You've got Carlos Delgado. I mean, they've been kicking some serious butt just these last couple of games. They were sliding. It is a team effort. The team wins together. They lose together. It's not about David Wells.
I don't know.
And he's not going to turn the team around by crying like that, especially, you know, like telling them to print it. I mean, you know, quote me and print it. I mean, you're not gonna get team support with that kind of word.
How do you know? How do you know? How many of you hang out in the locker room? How do you know the personality of this team? Maybe this team responds to something
Anyone
like
who plays on a team would know that comment would not be
appreciated. If it were a Wayne Gretzky or a Vince Carter, it'd be different.
But maybe in this instance,
I'm not saying a team won't respond to it, but
let Regis speak. Go ahead, Regis.
A team's not going to respond. I'm not saying they have to be pampered by each player and say, hey, you know what, Michael, that was really good. Maybe next time if you keep your chin up, buddy, you know, things will look better. You know, there's always going to be a bit of, you know, cursing and a bit of sarcasm and, you know, somebody doing something. But, you know, to actually, you know, like, I don't know. I think it was just too much.
Okay, I got to go to break. But the point to be made also is that a guy like Mike Mussina, who has not complained, has a less than 500 record and has a better ERA than David Wells. So I'm not sure what he's complaining about. Let us know what you're complaining about, the issues and the host and all that stuff. Michael, there should be even longer touchdown dances in the NFL. This is entertainment. Everybody loves seeing what Owens did. We're talking about Terrell Owens, and probably loved it even more when the Cowboys reacted. That was when he ran to center field. That's reaction to a comment that we've had over the past couple of days. Also, OTR, who cares if C.J. Hunter or T.J. Hooker are on the juice? All world-class athletes do something. Let it go and let them compete.
There you go.
Steve Geza Kimball. Let us know what you think. There's our website, there's our email, there's our fax number. Back with more OTR in a moment.
He was in too cool when it's all over. Well, the thing I'm happy about is in China.
Before we find out what Casey Martin should be up to, Geza Kalman, what's up with you?
Well, I taped a wrestling show with a group called All Canadian.
You cutting into my territory here, man?
What's that?
You doing TV now?
Oh, you bet.
Because I'll go to wrestling.
Oh, you bet. It was with All Canadian Wrestling, and the show is going to be on the APTN, which is the Aboriginal People's Television Network, sometime in October. I'm not sure of an exact date, but don't forget to watch.
Nicholas Sparks, you started to write when you were 28, just a few years ago, and since then you've become the 5th leading author in the world. An incredible achievement. The Rescue is just every bit as good as the former books that you've written, including several that were made into movies, right?
Yeah, Message in a Bottle, The Notebook, and A Walk to Remember, and this just came out last week, and up here promoting it, and then around for then back to America.
And you're a great guest on the show. The Rescue is available all across Canada as of last week. Tell me, Myles.
Our distribution company, Hilt Squared Entertainment, in conjunction with Cinemax Bronte, is releasing the movie The Basket November 10th in theaters across Toronto, then the rest of Canada. And our record company, MNJ Records, is holding a contest at the El Macambo.
You talking to the camera there? Very good. Yeah, I like that.
I'm trying to talk.
Absolutely. Everyone's cutting into my territory.
I used to have a show a long time ago.
Oh, did you really? And there's your website, right?
And the website is www.hilts2.com. And we're going to be giving away a record deal at the El Macambo in Toronto, October 11th.
Cathy Dudzic, what's up with you?
Well, lots of exciting things. I'm working for Muscle Mag International now, so if you...
Well suited for that role?
Thank you. If you want to come down and visit us downtown Toronto on Yonge Street,
excellent.
anytime.
Is that a personal invitation?
Guaranteed to get you hard there, Michael. Guaranteed.
You know what?
Guarantee. My personal guarantee.
You see, some things are just too easy, and I'll just leave that alone. Or some people are just too easy. All right, let me ask you guys about Casey Martin. His case has gone to the Supreme Court. He says he should ride. Should it be the law of the jungle in pro sports, where it's survival of the fittest, and everybody else can watch it on TV? What do you think?
Damn right. I don't think, I mean, you know, golf is a sport where you hit the ball and then you walk there and then you hit it again. I mean, I'm not much of a fan of golf, but I don't think they should make, special exceptions to where this guy can drive the cart.
All he's asking for is a cart. He's not asking for anything else.
That's okay. That's great. I mean, maybe they should have a Special Olympics golf.
Athletes of all abilities.
What do you think?
All he's asking for is a cart.
I'm with him.
Yeah, he's conserving his energy with the cart.
If it were Tiger Woods,
hold on, guys.
If it were Tiger Woods, they'd let him drive a Porsche down the course. Let him have his cart, you know?
Excellent. The word is, he rides. We're out of here. We'll see you next time on OTR.